Well, hello. It has been requested to make a tutorial of ACF motorcycle. So, here it comes. And firstly, we are going to build a frame for the motorcycle. We're going to choose a thinner frame. We're going to do a quite light bike, I think. So, this is the S-props, and it has very many different lengths and stuff of the props, so it's hard to choose the right. Well, building a frame is not very complicated. You should be aware of that the frame should not be too light. It should have some weight on it. So, let's use precision tool, -100%. Well, that's quite a nice angle. And now we need to do a steering system, a steering bar, what do you call it? Well, whatever, let's make one. Put it somewhere there. Well, maybe somewhere more. That's should be right. Yes. No, I want it a bit more up. Of course, you need to choose axis, not a weld. That's completely wrong. Well, now you can move it. Excellent. And now we need to have the crossover bars. You have something to put your hands on. Weld. And this motorbike is using ACF, a realistic engine system, and wire mod. And I use S-props also, but that's not required. Now we need to freeze what the axes are on, and it's smart to make axes on both of the bar the wheel will be on and the handbar, so that the steering will be more stable, or the entire bike will be more stable, because quite a lot of force will be on the front wheel. So we have the beginning of a low rider-ish bike, and we need to make sure that the steering is exactly forward. And now we're going to change the weights so it is more suitable for support of wheel and ACF engine, and we're going to do a quite more light bike, so 50 will be enough on the two headbars and the front supporting bar, and 30 on the steering bar. So this will be steered by hydraulics. Of course you can use apply force or whatever is comfortable for you. Now I will make a single hydraulic, but you can, for more stability, make a double hydraulic. That's actually better, but well, the wheels will be 30 heavy, and don't forget to put it axis. I put -100 so it will get almost in the middle. there should be nice. And the next wheel, it's nice to freeze them before you use the precision tool so you don't accidentally pick them up in the air. It's quite annoying. Well, now we have the basic frame with wheels and everything, and we're going to dual axis it like this, so we have more stability, and that one to this, so we have on all the head props, so we call them. Pair up with the advanced pod controller, and now let's see, yes, a hydraulic on the steering bar and on the side there. I usually use dual hydraulics, but this time I use single hydraulics because it takes lots of time to wire the dual hydraulic. And now we need to check the current length of the hydraulic and put it into a constant value. And then we have positive 10, negative 10 and 100. The 10s are for the steering and the 100 for the engine later on. And it has to be the exact value of the current hydraulic length. Otherwise the motorcycle will by default not steering straight on, but will draw to one of the sides. So now let's find gates. There they are. We need to spawn one add and 3 multiply. 2 of the multiplies are for the steering, and this multiply are for the engine. Now we shall link the A to the constant value of the current length of the hydraulic, and B to B and C to the 2 multiplies. A have multiplied to 10 and the right multiply to now I'm confused. Well, the left multiply on positive 10 and the right multiply on negative 10. That's it. And left to D and right to A. That's it. And now it should be working. And it doesn't work. I know what I did wrong. Well, I'm sorry. I wired the length wrong. The length should of course be wired to the add, not to the constant value. Now it should be working, because the add also have the plus negative multiply gate for A and the positive multiply gate for D. So now it should be working. The length should be wired to the add gate, and that's wobbly. Well, it should be perfectly stable on the road. It's just when we build it looks unstable. Now we need to have rope. Check that the thickness of the rope is 0, otherwise it will look funny. Like that. It's just to limit the steering wheel so it won't go 360 around or something. That would be not so good. You will completely lose control. So that looks much nicer. And now let's spawn a engine now when the steering are working. We're going to choose a classical motorbike engine, a V-twin. Let's take the middle large V-twin engine. Yes, yes, yes. 1200 cubics. And we're going to have a gearbox, 4-speed transaxial. It's important it's transaxial. A medium, maybe not. It's too big. We take a small, should be enough for this engine. That should be fine. Let's no collide it and the engine and put it into the right position. This is a bit tricky because if it's too much off, it could jump out of its joint, so that you have to reconnect it. So it's good to be so exact as possible. And you want it to point to the middle of the motorcycle's center, because there is where the engine should be. So the placement of the engine will not be as in a real motorcycle because of the nature of the gearboxes. I wonder if this engine might be a bit too large. It looks a bit large. I don't know. What do you think? Well, too large. Let's choose the smallest V-twin engine. After all, this will be a light bike. So, that looks much more like the size we want to. No collide it to everything. Everything, yes. And now we need to make it quite straight so that we can put it in with the gearbox. Maybe a bit more forward. It's quite important of the exactness of the placement. Well, that should be nice. Maybe we should tilt it more towards the gearbox. And let's connect it. And connect the gearbox to the wheel. Now let's weld the gearbox to the engine and the head prop. And we should free them and weld the engines and the gearbox to both of the head props. Or the frame props, maybe I should call them. Well, let's wire active on the pod controller, throttle on the multiply gate we have not used yet. A to 100, B to space. The space is the control for the throttle. And gear up to W and gear down to S. That is splendid. Now we shall connect the clutch to Alt, and we're also going to connect the brake to Alt. On large vehicles or heavier vehicles, the brake is more or less useless, but on lighter vehicles it works fine. Quite realistic on the lighter ones. So it seems to work. And yep. Now it should be working, though we need props to make it look more nice, and we need props to we need 2 more wheels to make it stable. You can also use keep upright if you have that tool installed. It's not default anymore. And of course a screen to view the speed and to view the gear, the current gear. So kilometers per hour and gear. and unclick the only one value, so we have two values. And it's already uncollided. We should use the floor to make it more straight. Come on, screen, do a side command. That's nice. And a little more down, and we can cover up most of the wiring. Come on, screen. That's nice. A little more and a little down. Yes. A little more down. Well, now let's weld it. Okay, I just had to weld it. The weight is only 1, that's good. If it's heavier, it's likely to wobble around. And wiring. We are going to wire B to current gear, and the current gear will be shown on the screen. And then we need to spawn a speedometer. The split X, Y and Z value should be unchecked, so we just have a single speed output. And let's wire that one to A2 kilometers per hour. If you're weird, you can of course use miles per hour, but I mean, who uses miles per hour? Not me. So it seems to work. And we need to have some nice looking props. A fuel tank. We need to have no, that's wrong. We need to have a something to sit on, and a nice exhaust tube. We are going to use an upside down suitcase. Well, let's check the weight on this, and no color them first. Now 10 is good, 8 is too much. We change it to 5 because it's only a visible prop, and 15 is completely okay. Well, let's first apply the fuel tank. This is not the ACF fuel tank, this is just a prop, so that the motorcycle will look more realistic. And of course it's more fun to drive nice looking vehicles than just working vehicles. So then we have the nice comfortable suitcase. I mean, how can you not want to sit on a suitcase? All cats like suitcase, and therefore you should also like suitcases, because cats are awesome. There we have it. And weld it too. And then the exhaust tube. Come on, be kind of straight. Yeah. Let's tilt it inward so that the beginning of the whir ends in. And well, that one, we're almost done with the motorcycle. What's left is frankly support wheels, or keep upright if you want to use that. You can use balloons also, but that tend to be extremely wobbly. I do not recommend balloons. And since I don't have keep upright, we're going to use support wheels. That's the most common way, I think. You can put in settings to your advanced ball socket to make a feature that almost is keep upright, only stronger. But perhaps you do not want to have a uber strong keep upright, so if you install the regular keep upright, so well, let's cheat and remove the color of the seat so that you don't have to see it, and we're going to choose a nice trashy texture for our props so that they look more trashy, motorcycle-y as the rest of the vehicle. Well, now it's done. Only support wheels left. Wheel size of these ones, I don't know what their name is, but whatever. Let's place them not too far, because then your bike will mysteriously be stuck in objects it should be able to avoid, but not too close, because then it will just tilt over. And it's good if they're also ahead, because otherwise your bike will turn automatically. That's not good. So let's access them to both of the frame props or the head props. And I made an error. You see, the bike must of course be steady on the ground before you access the wheels, otherwise it will fly in the air. That's not good. It will just look weird, and you won't be able to steer or travel forward. So let's access them again to both of the wheels, and you will want to make an axis with, well, that seems to be working. We're going to test it, and it seems to be working just fine. Of course we will remove the color of the support wheels, but now just take it for a drive. We seem to reach 28, 30 almost, but it's downhill. Well, let's, whoops. Of course I could have used the brakes, but whatever. I think the gear is a bit wrong. We need to change the final drive to somewhat lower than 0.5, because otherwise we will have problem accelerating, as you see. And we remove the color of those ones first. And now we shall find we shall change the weight on the steering rod so that it will be a bit more efficient in turning. And now we're going to find the gearbox. It has to be the same gearbox. 4-speed, small, transaxle. And we're just going to change the final drive to a somewhat lower value than 0.0, because it has it's too heavy for it to start. Let's change it to 0.2. and that should be fine. Well, let's test it. You can make the gearbox invisible too. Yep, that's much more efficient. Nice ride. Of course, you can have a much shorter fork, because with this long fork on a motorcycle, the steering will be extra inefficient, but it looks cool. So I mean, on the highway, we seem to almost reach 40 kilometers per hour. That's nice. Well, now I have shown you how to make your ACF bike. So I hope you people who require this are happy with the tutorial. And there is one last thing I shall show you if you want to have a better grip on the wheels. You type in fizprop underline material, and then you type in Japloy tire in one word, and then you click on both of the wheels. Well, thank you all for watching, and I hope you liked this tutorial. So, well, until next time.